My name's Janelle Reeves and we're in Wyndham Vale in Victoria. We've got one girl who's 19, Bronwyn, and two boys, Harley and Bradley, 14 and 8. Bron's been diagnosed with bipolar and OCD. Harley and Bradley have only so far been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and intellectual disabilities. Getting them to get the help, especially the older two, they don't like medication. They've probably seen me take tantrums over taking medication, but they don't want to have to go through that. Luckily, I've got a wonderful husband. I mean, I was diagnosed 4 days after we started dating. And he stuck by me, and he's been through the ups and downs, and he didn't enjoy the ride either. And he's always there to tell me that I'm doing the right thing, or he tells me if I'm being a bit harsh, or if I should be, if I'm being a bit soft. Or with the boys, they're very physical when they get angry. Can always tell when their aggression's peak because the doors usually go bang bang, one in each room. And Harley, due to his other disorders, aggression is a part of that, and we end up with a lot of holes in his walls. Harley goes to a special school, and they sent us home a sheet with different faces on it, from happy to angry and everything in between. And it comes in very helpful, if the boys don't know how they're feeling, but they can point to a face of how they're feeling, then that's something. And we put it on the fridge and have a B magnet and a H magnet and get them to put their letter on their face. And it helps us to know, and if we see that they're angry, then we try and find out why they're angry, because bottled up anger is the worst thing for anybody to go through, and bottled up anger is what eventually leads to depression. It's so important to communicate with people who are depressed, and a lot of the time verbal communication is just out of the question. I will not talk when I'm down, because I know as soon as I open my mouth, the tears go on. And we've used alternate communication aids. We use a whiteboard. We used to use that for when the kids were a lot younger. We would write up what my mood was and draw a face to signify how I was feeling, and that helped the kids to understand how I was feeling from day to day. Text messaging, with the mobiles, if you're on the same network and you get free text messages and you don't feel like you can talk to somebody, text them. Write a journal or write notes to each other, but just find some way to communicate. With Bron, it was a lot of isolation, a lot of withdrawal. She would leave home very early in the morning. She wouldn't return home until very, very late at night. She pushed her friends away. Her friends would ring me and ask me if she was okay and what they could do, and it was hard to tell them that she's going through this depression, and we've all just got to be there for her and be ready to listen when she's ready to talk. She has been suicidal in the past, and that was very hard. This child that you've given birth to, that you've raised, that you love unconditionally, is telling you that they want to take their own life. And as a mother, you don't want to believe that your child is at that point of not wanting to live. Bron used to cut herself, so once we became aware of that, we made sure that we put our razors, in our bedroom and kept razors out of the bathroom, and, just making sure that implements like that weren't available for her to access. And if we ever broke cups or anything, we put them straight into the recycling, and it's taking away that temptation. And it's also trying to encourage her to talk and to share why she feels the need to do that. And And again, you can't force a person to talk about it. You can, Bron was very, very difficult to speak to. And so I suggested that she get an exercise book and write down her thoughts, and, when she's ready, to share them with me and things like that. And I believe she's keeping a journal now. So you've just got to let them know, look, I'm here, I'm in the lounge room. If you want to talk, I'm there. It's not something that you have control over. It's not something that you can switch on and off. It's just there. It'll be there, pretty much for a long time. And Ian always says to me when the depression hits, just go with the ride. It's like being on a roller coaster or a ghost train. You come up to the part that you don't really like, and well, you can't get off. You can't get off a roller coaster going at 80k, and you can't jump off this roller coaster. So you just got to, hang on and enjoy the ride, and it will pass. It will pass. You don't know when it'll pass. You don't know how big the dip's going to be. But it's all about when you are in that dip, you've got to be communicating with those closest to you. You've got to be telling them how you're feeling. And I say to Ian, when I'm down, I don't know why I'm down. But when you're just in that pit of depression, you don't want to do anything. And that's where subtlety and gentleness need to come into play. You can't just turn around to a person and, right, get out of bed. It's not going to work. It's not. The harder my husband says get out of bed to me when I'm depressed, the longer I'll stay there. And one of the worst things that I find that people say to me is, what's wrong? Well, if I knew what was wrong, I'd fix it. And at that time, you just don't know what's wrong. And rather than saying what's wrong, we should change that to how you're feeling today. The more you can support a person in taking responsibility for their daily things, the better they're going to get over time, because the more you do everything for them, they'll just sit back and take it. But just communicating and talking to our kids and educating them and being honest with them, if we can break down that communication barrier, we can get a lot more information to help people. You can't help somebody if they don't tell you how they need the help, and just by communicating in any way, we can get to that last step a lot quicker.